Now, Indian Foreign Minister is on a two-day visit to Sri Lanka and his third such visit to the island nation since 2021. Indian Foreign Minister S Jaishankar met with his Sri Lankan counterpart Ali Sabre on Thursday. The visit follows India's backing of Sri Lanka for a $2.9 billion International Monetary Fund loan. This leaves China as the island's last remaining major creditor, which is yet to agree to the debt restructuring plan. India has told IMF that it strongly supports Sri Lanka's debt restructuring plan. Colombo owes around $1 billion to New Delhi. But Sri Lanka requires the backing of both China and India, its biggest bilateral lenders, to reach a financial agreement with the IMF on the loan that is essential to help the country of nearly 22 million people emerge from its worst financial crisis in 7 decades. With the latest high-level meeting, India is now looking to strengthen ties with its debt-ridden neighbour and sign several key deals. Reports say the two countries are expected to sign a memorandum of understanding for a renewable power project covering 3 islands in Sri Lanka's north. The project stoked controversy last year as it was initially awarded to a Chinese company before India stepped in to secure them. For more on this, we're now being joined by our correspondent Dasuni Atoda from Colombo. Dasuni, thank you so much for joining us. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jaishankar is on a 2-day visit and fully India backs the debt restructuring plan for Sri Lanka. However, that means that China is now the only major creditor that is yet to step forth. What can you tell us?
Yes, like you rightfully pointed out, in a short while there will be a press conference that is to be held in the presence of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, along with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka President's Council, Ali Sabre. And everyone is sort of expecting for a word of confirmation regarding debt restructuring and what we can expect from the India-Sri Lanka relations in this regard, provided that Sri Lanka is already a few weeks, if not a month and a half behind the proposed schedule of getting this IMF bailout of $2.9 billion as well.
Right, absolutely, Dasuni, but this IMF bailout, as I mentioned earlier, is also reliant on China's backing of this debt restructuring plan. What can you tell us about that?
We've been covering that the IMF's biggest concern is how well that Sri Lanka does its debt restructuring, especially when it comes to big lender countries such as Japan, India and China. Now, what we know so far is that India and Japan have sided with Sri Lanka and have pushed for debt restructuring. But it is still unclear as to how or when the confirmation from the Chinese counterparts will come. Now, just before the visit of the Indian Foreign Affairs Minister, we did see some high-level top delegates of the Chinese political parties come into Sri Lanka and make several visits and calls on political parties, but there was nothing conclusive that we could get from that visit. However, in a matter of minutes, everyone is expecting for some word of confirmation to come this way with this scheduled press conference with the Foreign Affairs Minister of Sri Lanka in the presence of the Sri Lankan President.
Right. Many key deals are expected. In fact, they are to sign a memorandum of understanding for a renewable power project covering 3 islands in Sri Lanka's north. As you know, this comes after much controversy. What can you tell us about this?
Sri Lanka's north as well as the northern east part of this island nation has been highly contested in terms of geopolitical strategy and geopolitical projects. Like you rightfully pointed out, Tim, earlier these projects were given to China. However, India did manage to secure this. And it will be interesting to see, provided there are several projects of China in the same area as well, as to how the two countries will sort of manage to balance out these projects while also maintaining friendly ties between each other and also with Sri Lanka.
All right, Dasuni, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with all your inputs on this. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.